Lance by Chance. The untold story of him wrestling as a Von Erich. LanceByChance.com.
Fans, welcome to Working Fans Wednesday, episode 24. I will be joined shortly by the man they call Dave and AJ Strangebrew. And in honor of NWA Power returning, we are going to talk top NWA champions, as well as tonight's MLW, NXT, and AEW cards. We have quite a show for you. Now, you can find us on our social medias in addition to the ones listed on Twitch. We are at Fans Working. Facebook is the Working Fans Podcast Facebook page. Our email is workingfanswrestlingpod@gmail.com. YouTube is youtube.com/c/workingfanswrestlingpod. Our website, workingfanspodcast.com. And our comedy podcast releases every Tuesday. Well, our wrestling podcast releases every Thursday. We are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pocket Cast, any major podcast provider. The important thing you got to remember, if you could please, is like, rate, review, subscribe wherever you listen to us. Now, let me play a quick commercial for the Buzz social media. In the hills with the stars, told you I'd raise the bar, told you that I go far. Baby, it's crystal clear. I'm not a souvenir. I'm not an accessory. I'm a necessity. So come and check me out now. I'm a necessity. So come and check me out now. Now, we are brought to you by a variety of great sponsors. First up, 482 Designs. That's FOUR82designs@gmail.com. They printed us up those shirts and stickers that we've been selling. And anything you need screen printed, email them over there and see what they can do for you. JD Sloan has been on the show before from WrestleTopia. They are at WrestleTopia on Twitter and search WrestleTopia on Facebook. Always got some great G-Drive sales over there. Knockout Wrestling once again. We, as you know, Dave and I are the commentators for Knockout/Renegade Wrestling, and we have some great content coming to you very soon. And you saw the commercial at the top of the show. That is the book Lance by Chance. It's written by Vinnie Barry and Lance Vaughn, and it's the story of how Kevin Vaughn became Lance Von Erich and then Lance Vaughn. Tells you about his life in the business, the life he led before, and the amazing life he led after. This is a book you have to check out. LanceByChance.com, also available on Amazon. Now, last but not least, we are brought to you by The Buzz. That is our podcast network, our podcast family, if you will. I'm going to play a quick commercial detailing all the live shows we offer, in addition to those audio shows you just saw. And after this commercial, we'll bring the guys in and we'll start talking top NWA champions.
War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Till we see the confetti fall, be ready for war. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Till we see the confetti fall, be ready for war. Tell them I'm ready, any opponent. The crown heavy and every minute is chosen. A path only fit for kings, and you don't know what this court means. What did you enlist for? If it isn't getting more rings, then you gon' have to switch your team. Trust me, it gets more mean. I'm a nightmare going up against your dreams. First step is explosive like a bomb hit. Bet if I let it fly, I cannot miss. And you ain't got a chance at the top 10 when you getting clamped all night by a locksmith. On the block, throwing lobs to my top bigs. I'm a chef, no look, what's the top dish? Tie game, through the pressure as the clock ticks.
Fellas,
Oh,
how are
shit,
you
we
doing
back.
tonight?
Whoa, where are we?
It's WrestleMania weekend. AJ,
Whoa,
by tomorrow, the fans will have
whoa.
heard how me and Dave feel about it. How do you feel about WrestleMania? What are you most excited for?
What I'm most excited for is hopefully this angle with the Fiend being over. Other than that, I think that TakeOver for me is the big thing. I'm looking forward to everybody's favorite Psycho, Mr. Ciampa, going up against Walter. I think that's going to be hard hitting slugfest.
You know what? Though, we're going to talk about that later. Give me two matches, gun to your head, that you're looking forward to.
Two matches. That match, and then the other one is going to be definitely Finn Balor versus the man formerly known as Killer Cross.
No, I meant actually on the main card. Give me something.
Oh, on the main card. All right, WrestleMania main card. Let's do this. I am actually looking forward to Randy Orton and The Fiend. I was joking about it being over, but I do think that's going to be a hell of a match. And then, believe it or not, I'm looking forward to Sasha Banks versus freaking the EST of WWE, and they are going to light things up.
I'll give you one of those. All right.
Who do you think's going to win that match?
I actually think this is Belair's go. I think she's going over. I think this is her crowning. I think the WWE sees great things in her as an athlete, and I think she's going to shine.
Hopefully. I mean, I don't know. With Vince nowadays, I wouldn't know what to expect. Like,
I think if they end up closing the first night, you'll definitely. I think Belair is going home.
Okay. If you want one more, I'm just going to give you one more match with the Jake St. John rule. I am actually looking forward to, believe it or not, I am looking forward to Edge versus Roman Reigns, because I think that this is going to actually be a hell of a match between the two of them. You could say what you want about Roman Reigns
versus
but I'm looking to see how far he can push Edge.
Yeah, AJ's been missing his SmackDown lately. You know that's a triple threat.
No. I know Daniel Bryan's in it too, and I think that's going to be a hell of a match. I just think that it was.
He's an odd man out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And if you can't tell he's the odd man out, you can tell by the fact that I didn't talk about him.
I don't know. I think they actually, that's one of the few things they did well. I think they made a case for everybody to possibly win this match. So we'll see what happens.
Now, guys, what were you going to say?
You got something else?
No, I was just going to say, that being said, I do think this is also one of Daniel Bryan's last runs. I think he is looking to retire coming up. So he could go over in the match, actually.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Now, the reason we're getting together tonight is to talk top NWA champions. I think it's going to be a pretty easy list. Which one of you guys wants to go first? I'll go first if you guys want.
Yeah, go first.
Go for it.
I got Ric Flair, Harley Race, Jack Briscoe, Nick Aldis, and Dory Funk Jr.
Wow.
Not bad, man. Not bad.
Yeah.
I'll let AJ close the show. Let me say, all right. First off, I'm gonna have some similar people on that list. Obviously, you gotta have Ric Flair on your list, otherwise you're wasting our time. All right, he's the man. Woo! He's 12 or 14 times NWA heavyweight champion, depending on who you believe or what records they are. Then you got Harley Race. I'm gonna agree with that too. He's a 7, 8-time world champion, again on what you believe. One of the most legit and respected tough guys there ever was, Race. Actually, speaking of, AJ was talking about Randy Orton earlier in the Broken Skull Ranch I watched the other day. Orton actually made a comment when they were doing the Legend Killer gimmick. He spit on Race's face, and they're asking what was going through his mind. He said, I knew I had to duck because I knew I didn't want to get knocked out by Harley on live TV. And he knew Harley was going to be okay with it. but Harley was going to legit throw a real punch at him if he did his angle.
Dude,
and he did.
Randy Osgood showing that he's got a little heat there with Dave right now. He gave his list to Joe this week.
We'll get to you, Randy. We'll get to you, baby. All right. Also, I want to add on to this list, Lou Thez. All right. Lou Thez is a guy who debuted in 1932 and had his last match in 1990.
You son of a bitch.
Did my work, bro. I guess you did too.
Oh.
But Lou Thez is also one of the all-time greats and also a legitimate tough guy. In fact, I just remember, guys like Danny Hodge and stuff, quotes about them talk about Thez just being one of those guys that could handle you. And also, wrapping up my final two lists, although he wasn't one of the lengthier reign champions, I think Dusty Rhodes, for his charisma and just the person he is and putting the NWA on the map, deserves to be mentioned. And also, it's my favorite list, so whatever, kiss my ass. And also, Joe, like you, I'm going to put the modern-day NWA champion there, Nick Aldis, who I think is ushering us in a new era. So there you go.
Now I'll give you Randy's list real quick. He's got Harley Race, Ric Flair, Nick Aldis, Dusty Rhodes, and Lou Thez.
Damn, baby. Did he just do my whole list?
Yeah. I believe it is your whole list.
All right. Great minds think alike. Randy, coming up, baby.
No wonder why you had a little heat with him.
Coming up.
You stole his list.
My man.
Okay, first of all,
I'm glad he actually sent that to Joe this week. That's kind of funny.
That way it wouldn't look like you were just ripping off his choices. Like, yeah, that looks about right.
Randy, if you're wondering if Thez is on another list, you're damn right he is, because he's number one on my list. Lou Thez, which is why I was pissed. Ric Flair,
sure.
Harley Race, Terry Funk,
Terry. I thought about that one.
And then Nick Aldis. I left off Dusty for Terry Funk because Dusty's an egg-sucking dog.
Terry Funk ain't nothing but a watermelon thieving.
Terry Funk was a champion for 4 years, you son of a bitch.
I whooped Terry Funk's ass.
I mean, that's a hell of a list. You can't go wrong.
You realize the only different really was basically what Jack Briscoe and Terry Funk. I think we all had all this. Flair.
Dory Funk Jr. I had.
You had Dory, yeah.
I can't believe none of us put Candido or Kaniski on there.
I guess we're gonna have to get the fuck out of here, that Kaniski shit. So we're gonna have to put Flair and Aldis in our top 5 in Race, right? We all had Race.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Daniel Backley.
Backley, I'm sure he wants us. I'm sure Backley wants us to talk that Ospreay title win over in New Japan.
Dude, we can talk that all night long. That's such a great thing to be the second champion ever of the world title, the world championship there in New Japan World Pro Wrestling.
Now, does that title look less goofy on him? I still don't like the design, but I guess it fits with him.
Yeah.
I still like that old belt. That old one was the way to go.
Hey, we got to pick a final 3 here, though. Let's not forget.
Absolutely. Scrap Daddy Adam Pearce. What?
He was not on the list. We got Race, Aldis, and Flair, the way I see it, based off our votes.
Yeah, those are the consistent ones.
I want to talk about Aldis for a second. I know that it's
the fact he's even in here with Flair and Race. This is insane, really.
I think we can all admit that one of the reasons why we love Aldis so much is he brings us back to the Flair. He brings us back to that classic champion, that legitimacy, that thing that makes you want to watch. And I agree with that. It does remind me of the Jeff Hardy.
I also want to say too, I love this promo. A couple weeks ago on NWA Power, Nick Aldis said he has this affliction. He's got this problem. It keeps coming up. All I do is win, baby. I love it. I like this guy's man.
We've had this discussion before. He reminds me of a cross between Flair and Nick Bockwinkel.
Absolutely. Now, unfortunately, as we're building him up, he's going to be the first to go. We're not going to have
No, he's leaving the room first.
It's got to be Flair and Race,
who's
baby.
Going to bounce? Are we going to pick him over Flair? Are we going to pick him over Race? Like, as good as he is,
no, you can't.
Living that modern example, he's not going to top those guys.
No, not at all. I think you would agree. It's an honor just to be here.
the fact that he's in the room instead of Terry Funk or Dusty Rhodes or Jack Briscoe. I can't believe somebody mentioned Dory. That's like watching paint dry. Funk.
European uppercuts, baby.
Well, maybe if you want to talk about great trainers who put in a lot of legends, but that's fine. But I think it's got to be Race and Flair for the championship.
Got to be Race and Flair. And hey, we all know that Race is, if this was a shoot fight, Race be whooping that ass. All right.
Oh God! If it was a shoot fight, it's either Thez or freaking Jack Briscoe or
Race.
Yeah.
But
those three guys would be your top three if it's a shoot fight.
Since it's about being the man and staying the man, brother. Woo! There's only one guy I can be, and that's the 60-minute man. Woo!
I agree with you. To be honest with you, this would have been such a more challenging thing
if we
eliminated the two of them.
Yeah. We couldn't.
Now, is it because Flair's got just a little bit more showmanship than Race? Because I feel like he won by just like a hair, and the thing that would put him over is the style, because they're both tough. They both embodied being a champion.
Yeah. Great matches, except for that
longevity. As much as I love Harley Race was the epitome of the 70s. But Flair was the epitome of the 70s all the way until the early 2000s. So once again, longevity goes in Flair's case also.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh no, don't get me wrong. King Harley Race had some good matches, baby.
No, he did, but by that point, he's not holding any championships. Flair held championships until he was in his 50s, for Christ's sakes.
He did. He was the man.
Now, guys, we got a lot of good cards tonight. Dave, if you want to tell the people briefly about MLW, because they are replaying an MLW Underground episode.
Yeah, I didn't write it down, but it is going to be from one of the early MLW shows back in the early 2000s. It is Terry Funk, that egg-sucking dog, versus Jerry the King Lawler in a $10,000 bounty match. I believe the bounty was on Terry Funk's head by Steve Corino's Army at the time. So that should be a classic. You really can't go wrong with Terry Funk. Yeah, you can't go wrong with Terry Funk and Jerry Lawler.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. That's anytime you're going to show that.
It's a fucking crime, actually, while we're at it, that Jerry Lawler wasn't an NWA heavyweight champion. He should have been on our list. He was AWA heavyweight champion. He owned Memphis. I understand that, but damn it, he should have had another world title. It's ridiculous.
I think that sometimes he gets pigeonholed due to the fact that, he was the booker and that he was such a staple in a small market for so long. We don't give him the national attention that he deserves. He's such a great personality. Even by the time he got to the WWF, which obviously was late in his career, he was such a strong personality and was still believable against Bret Hart.
One of the best all-around performers of all time. I mean, when you talk about heel, babyface, you're talking about pro wrestler, you're talking about color commentator, you're talking about throw him in as a host at some of the events. Like just, I think last night he hosted the Hall of Fame. Like Jerry Lawler's just that guy that is so versatile and so good at everything. You can plug him.
There's a lot of those pre-shows.
Yeah, you can plug him in anywhere, man, even at this age. Like he's good at it.
Yeah, and how many people are willing to have a heart attack on air?
That's putting somebody over, brother. Dolph Ziggler, you're welcome. Give that man his due.
Now, tonight, AEW has a gargantuan task ahead of it going up against the first night of TakeOver.
They do have an ace up their sleeve, though.
Yeah,
Mike
Tyson's ass.
up here.
Oh.
Got Darby Allin versus JD Drake. The Bunny versus Tay Conti. Return of the Inner Circle. Hot stuff there. You got Moxley and the Bucks versus Omega and the Good Brothers. That'll be a hell of a main event.
I want to ask AJ something. I'm just curious. AJ, we talked about this off air a little bit. Like, he's a guy that he's gonna like, even though like he's really looking forward to NXT. Yeah, I'm getting to it, but I'm gonna go actually a different way. But like, he's gonna watch AEW tonight, so I'm not gonna rehash this. We talked about this off air a little bit, but I want to ask. I'm kind of curious. I feel like the last several weeks in a row, we've had 6-man main events,
which is annoying as fuck.
I was wondering how you felt about that, because some people like it, some don't. I was wondering where you were, because to me, it feels a bit stale at times. Like, don't get me wrong, like, it's going to be a good match. You got the Bucks and Moxley, and I don't know maybe it's just going to be an angle, but I feel like it's a repeated formula a little bit.
I don't like 6-man matches to begin with.
Okay.
I'm not a fan. I think a lot of times it's a way to get a bunch of people from different stories into the same match, and to me, it's an easy way out. I would like to give my thoughts on Ethan Page and Scorpio real quick because Daniel Backley asked us. I think that's going to be an awesome team. I love the fact that Scorpio is going towards the dark side, and Ethan Page is straight money.
Yeah, they teamed up on Elevation last night against, or Monday against Mike and Matt Sydal.
Absolutely love them. I think they're fantastic. But as for the 6-man, I think it's garbage, especially in a main event. You're going up against a major show tonight, and it's almost like a throwaway, quite frankly.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Tyson, they probably would be losing tonight. I don't know what's going to happen now.
I'm more excited about Hangman Page versus Max Caster than I am the 6-man match.
The thing that might help them win the ratings tonight, Tyson, is that something that's as big to you, or is that kind of
So here's the problem. You have the Inner Circles coming back, and they're actually going more towards the face now. So is Jericho even going to have an interaction with Tyson if Tyson's coming on? Is Tyson going heel? What exactly are they going to be doing with this if you've got babyface Chris Jericho?
I got to say, frankly, I don't think it matters because they are going up against TakeOver Night 1, NXT. This show is packed. Leon Ruff versus Swerve Scott versus Bronson Reed versus Cameron Grimes versus Loomis versus LA Knight. Gauntlet match for that North American title shot on night 2.
And I just want to say, if they do it right, baby, there's only one guy who should win this, and that's Cameron Grimes.
He's going to the moon. Now you got MSK versus Grizzled Young Vets versus Legado del Fantasma for the NXT Tag Championships.
That's going to be awesome.
The hardest
Ciampa.
The hardest thing about TakeOver is the fact that there is so much good stuff going on. That's trying to pick a favorite is like a parent trying to tell one child, no, your brother's not my favorite. No, Jake, we're not talking about Zach again.
But I think it's like obvious that NXT is the show to go to. There's no lag in that lineup. Like you look at the AEW and it looks good, but it's got a couple minor holes. And I don't think Tyson is enough of a draw versus what NXT is giving.
We'll find out because it's all about that'll be a casual audience. So we'll see what he does for them.
So here's my thoughts on it. I will watch. Nice. That's ranked number 3 in the top 5 now. That's cool. So I'm looking forward to NXT more than I am AEW tonight. I will watch AEW first because it's what I do.
It's a team thing.
Exactly. But I can tell you honestly, I am looking forward to TakeOver more than anything this whole week.
All right, now guys, we're gonna end the show a little differently this week. I kind of want your show of the night, your match of the night, and then your match of the weekend since we have so many good shows ahead of us.
I was going to say, this isn't different. Joe's just petting his kitty again.
Hey, she jumped up in the shot. I can't control it.
All right, Adrian, you go first this time. How about that?
No, sure. So the match, I
love throwing your curveballs.
I just keep going back and forth because I am looking forward to Ciampa and I'm looking forward to Walter. That's my match that I'm going to stick with. But that Finn Balor, Killer Cross, that freaking Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole. I'm going to go with Ciampa and Walter though.
That's your match of the night, but like for the whole week, or maybe that's match whole weekend. What's your match of the night and whole weekend, or is it just
you know what? I'm gonna do match of the night tonight, Ciampa and Walter, and then I'm gonna go O'Reilly and
Cole,
Adam Cole for match of the weekend.
Okay, I am going to agree with that sort of. Walter and Ciampa will be the match of the night. It's also the match of the weekend, technically. But you add something else to that list. I will go with Jordan Devlin and Santos Escobar in a ladder match to determine the #1 cruiserweight champion in the world. I think these two are two of the best. And always bet on the ace.
Now, match of the night, obviously Walter versus Ciampa. I don't think there's any arguing that.
Nope.
I'm going to look through here because there's a lot of good matches this weekend.
I mean, hold on. I mean, Joe, we also got Moxley Barnett and Bloodsports this weekend, too.
That's
Moxley
true.
Barnett match of the weekend. That's
Boom. There you go.
That is going to be a hell of a match. There's so much to watch.
Oh yeah, he said it too. Walter against Ciampa. But Rampage Brown is actually wrestling Walter on the UK show tomorrow around 3:00, whenever that airs. So will it be for the title?
With you on Devlin Escobar.
Yeah. No, Jordan Devlin is the man. Like when you talk about big matches, like
we've talked about Devlin before. I am a huge fan of Jordan Devlin. I think Escobar, his style has melded a lot better than a lot of the luchadors have in the past, because he does do a combination of the luchador style with more of the aggressive physical style. So I do like him better. And I think it'll be a hell of a match, 100%. But I love the Irish Ace.
They did a press conference for TakeOver. They had all the NXT wrestlers that are going to be on next 2 nights. And they had media write questions in, and Wade Barrett hosted it. And basically they had stuff from Sports Illustrated, Meltzer, PWI, everybody. And I forget who asked it, but somebody asked Jordan Devlin basically a 2-part question. And it was like, is there something you can take from Santo Escobar's reign, something you enjoy? And are there people from the past you look up to in terms of cruiserweights? Totally ignored the second one. He just says, there's absolutely nothing I take or like about Santos Escobar's reign. He said, I fear that somehow he would be looked at as what a cruiserweight is supposed to be. It is shameful. There is nothing about this man. And then they're like, what about the second part? Is there anyone you look to in the past? He goes, no, I'm looking to the future. There's no one I'm looking to. I'm like, this fucking guy.
The guy's money.
It's money for me.
The guy is money. That's I got to see some matches between him and everybody's favorite big boy. And absolutely. They just beat the living hell out of each other for, I think it was a 30-minute match, one of them that I saw, and they just beat the tar out of each other for 30 minutes. So let me throw one curveball at you guys real quick. Hall of Fame last night. What was your favorite speech?
That's gonna bullshit you. Did they get something from
Don't tell me, Kali.
I didn't watch the whole. I watched a couple of speeches. I tuned in briefly to the 2021, the 2020 version, and the 2021 one. I will say, Kevin Nash just annoys me. I was listening to him, and he pulled some Beatles reference, and he did this when he was Diesel in WWF. Adam's probably one of the few people. AJ, excuse me, kayfabe names. He said he was like,
if we're doing real names, Mike,
Goo Goo Gachu, I am the Walrus, and I'm just like, Kevin Nash, you're such an asshole. Get the fuck off my TV. You're annoying me. I don't want to see this guy anymore. I'm sure he's a nice man,
I think my highlight was Molly Holly. I think
if there's see that one. I'm sure she was good.
I think if there's a more genuine person who's ever been more giving in the business and a better just all around person than Molly Holly, it's going to be awful hard to find. And she came across that way again last night.
I know Joe wants to get us out of here, and I'm ready to pull Ric Flair. Don't count me down. I'll tell you when we're done. But
no, you guys go. I'm just trying to get the cat out of there.
I got to tell a story. I just watched the I think it's the Icon series, Beth Phoenix. And she tells this story about Molly Holly, that basically Molly saw her, thought she had potential. There was an autograph signing, and she's about to miss her autograph. And then The Rock showed up. It was like a fan access event, and everybody leaves to go see that. So she gets to see Molly, and she's just real enthusiastic, and she hands her her video, her matches. And Molly's very appreciative. And Molly says, she just impressed me with her attitude and everything. But what's even better was Beth ends up going to OVW, and she doesn't know how she's going to afford everything, but she scruffles up the money for the first payment, and she gives it to Nightmare Danny Davis, and he ends up giving her money back. And he's like, what's this for? I think you had the change wrong. And he's like, no. He's like, the rest of your tuition's been paid for. Someone out there believes in you. Molly Holly paid for Beth Phoenix training just on a whim because he wanted to help her out. So that's the kind of person Molly Holly is.
Wow, you don't really hear a lot of stories like that in the wrestling industry. I mean,
I can tell you when I trained, I lost a lot more money. I wish I would have had a Molly Holly. I can tell you that.
You had parents who believed in you, damn it.
Yeah, I didn't have a parent that believed I would make 16.
Kid's fucking carny. Get out of here.
Send him down to that Adrian Street. He knows how to handle a boy.
Stretch him. Stretch his asshole. All right.
We should end on
any
that
last
note.
thought? Yeah, I was gonna say, you guys want to go out on a better note than that for WrestleMania weekend?
Working Fans Podcast, stretching them assholes. Good night, everybody.
Guys, one note from me, just a quick goodbye. If you get a chance out there, support the independent wrestling this weekend. I know it's easy to watch all the big shows. Pay the extra money, watch Bloodsport, watch the little shows. Put that money out there. Those guys have been struggling for the last year with COVID. Let's do what we can to support that. We need to help our brothers out.
Let's give indie wrestling with an edge, baby. Indie wrestling with an edge, baby.
And Randy.